Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Trash Talk. I'm here with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, yes, I would. I'm Miles. Some people call me Dingo on the internet, and
And
I'm
yeah,
a YouTuber. I'm a
yeah,
YouTuber.
and I just want to jump straight into it. With your start on YouTube, right? Like for you, where did you start on YouTube? How did you get into that?
Ooh,
Because I know a lot of people are influenced, right, by other bigger creators, especially within commentary and with other
mhm.
scenes. So, what got you into like doing YouTube and making content?
So there was something about me from a very young age. There's probably an anecdote I can tell
Mhm.
about this. When I was younger in my school play, I was doing the Wizard of Oz. I was playing the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And we were wearing these old shoddy costumes, and there's like a tunic. The wizard is wearing a tunic, and at one point it starts falling off. And at the big moment, I grab it, I rip it off, and throw it off stage. And I was like, "I am the Wizard of Oz," and that was a big, I think, formulaic moment. And that like I kind of was always a little bit of a showman, so I
Yeah.
started off in some aspects doing gaming content. So a lot of my kind of old friends are kind of either like VTubers or in that sort of gaming community.
Mhm.
And so that's where like I got my roots, which is kind of being entertaining. And that's I think something I still do to this day on second channels. I like to do debates. So like it's that same sort of I get to be sort of dramatic and I get to be kind of all over the place, right? But there was also
Yeah.
a part of me that really enjoyed researching and putting together stuff that I could really show off and be proud of. And
Mhm.
when I started watching people like OGRFC and Turkey Tom, that's where I kind of got that extra bit of DNA where I started to become really attracted to the idea of, of making these quite serious documentaries that kind of analyzed some of the states of internet culture. And that's how I got where I am now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I guess if you're like that, like you said, like a showman, right? Like, YouTube is definitely the perfect place, let alone the
Yeah,
commentary community, right? If you like a bit of like spice, like drama and controversy, I do feel like coming into this sort of scene, it is probably the best place to come, right? Like,
yeah,
if you're like into that a little bit, like the gaming community or other stuff like that, you're going to get like a decent amount of that. But commentary is always going to like attract way more
exactly.
attention, way more drama and stuff. And like just on the topic of drama, I don't usually do it this early, but I feel like we've just come to like that natural point. I do want to ask you just about your drama and controversy, right? Because I feel like for
Yeah,
commentators and for people in the commentary community,
I'm
it's
really
a
good
really
at it.
big part of what they do. Yeah, yeah, they're good at it, right? It's something they do quite a bit as well. So I do want to ask you about your drama and controversy that you have had. So what sort of stuff have you been involved in?
We had the infamous Noma stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Um, ooh, I feel like you've come in mind with something you want me to say, huh? I don't know
Yeah,
what kind of.
yeah, you've come into contact with something I would very much like you to talk about.
Okay. Hey, why? Hey, why don't we start the dilly dally? Why didn't you tell me? Come on. If
Well,
it's who I think it is.
yeah. So, like, I do really want to speak about like the Noma stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole Noma situation, including all like the Kitamushi stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
Uh, for me, it is a very interesting situation, especially in like retrospect, right? Lots has been going on, adding to the situation. But before I have my say and just like add on to like everything that's been going on, for people that don't know, like, how did you get your like foot in all of this drama and your like issues with Nomus?
So, prior to this, I really had no idea who the fuck Nomus was.
Yeah,
I always saw that corner of the commentary community. That's like the small smallies.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
just the people who are small commentators, but it's people who are in like the small commentary mindset who perceive themselves as being part of that, I would say, like kind of backwards kind of sub community.
yeah.
So the thing I found really interesting was that Kinamushi was kind of a guy where you could kind of randomly call him and kind of mess with him a little bit for your entertainment, and he'd
Yeah.
kind of go along with it because he didn't really mind. And it was kind of a way that if you were bored, it was always like ring up Kinamushi and make fun of him for 5 minutes and leave, right? So it
Mhm.
was it was another one of those nights. I think this is around the time I was finishing up the Kick video, So I was very much tired. I was very much like, I've spent so long in this video in between that and, you know, my junior cert, which is the main sort of Irish examination. I just thought, you know, I feel like it's getting to that time and I just want to chill out. So I closed everything, closed my Chrome tabs, hopped in Discord. No one's online, so I just say, oh, I'll call Kinmushi because he's online, right? I just saw him pop with my friends, I still have, may as well. He's like, I can't
Yeah.
talk right now. I'm gonna call with nomisyalf.
Mm.
So I had no idea who nomisyalf was, but I thought it was just such a peculiar name, nomisyalf. I
Yeah.
just thought, like, what kind of guy do you have to be to call yourself nomisyalf? Like, I was thinking either this is like an anime person, because anime people have that kind of that kind of quirky kind of nomisyalf, you know, those
Yeah.
kind of names. So I thought, you know what, I'll go screw with this guy then.
Hmm.
So I hopped in, and he's there with a guy called Kumo. Now,
Yeah.
I know a little bit about Kumo. I think everyone knows a little bit about Kumo. And the
Yeah.
the little bits that you know may not reflect the greatest, I don't know, you made the greatest reputation, right? So it's just like,
Hmm.
oh, this is not another person. This is, click on their tab, the internet's Tourette's-filled psychopath, the internet YouTube serial killer. I just think,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's gonna be so fucking funny, right? Fucking with this guy has to be the funniest thing in the world. And I hopped in the VC, and lo and behold, it was. It was really funny because he just made it so easy.
Yeah. Look,
What I
and I guess like, real quick, I guess that is like Nomus's downfall, right? In that aspect, it is genuinely for people that do want to antagonize him as much as he says that he doesn't care about his reputation or care about
cares a
whatever.
lot.
Yeah, it's very easy to attack that. And like even just from my point of view, like when I made my videos and covered my stuff, it was never to attack his reputation because I didn't believe at that point he had one. It was like more to just get everything out there and expose everything that I knew and had seen. But he still took it more as an attack on his reputation and on like him rather than what the bigger picture was.
Yeah. And I mean, like, my interaction with him is I just joined a server, messed with him, you know, got kicked. I tried to rejoin, obviously, plenty of times to kind of keep doing it, but, you know, eventually I just left, and then, like, I wake up in the morning, and now all of a sudden I'm, like, the target of, like, an actual smear campaign. And it
Yeah.
takes me, like, I think a good, like, 3 days to fully, like, manage, diffuse, and contain whatever is going on and kind of pick
Mhm.
at it. But I'm the kind of person where, like, you'll notice that my response was quite delayed. um it took me a while to really pile on. I think
Mhm.
about a month. No, I think it was a little less than a month, but it was around about that time where it was a period of time which was unusual for me. If I'm coming at someone in the public, I feel like I'm putting my reputation on the line. So
Mhm.
Nomas has much less to lose than I do, right? I've got more of a platform and a reputation, right? So it
Yeah.
was very important for me to take the time and fully assess, like, is this the right decision to do? But after I saw he's accusing more people, I thought, now I kind of feel like I have an obligation to speak out.
Mhm.
Because if you've got a guy going around here who's accumulated somewhat of like a sycophantic following, and he's not got the morals or the journalistic integrity required to kind of be trusted with such a platform, it's dangerous to have a guy walking around like that out there who is who does not couch his language,
Yeah.
sorry, does not couch his behavior. Everything is in black and white for him. It was important for me to weigh that up and then decide, this guy going around out there in these communities, that's going to have a negative effect. And nobody else in here has the kind of the evidence, the information gathering abilities. You'll notice that a lot of information here. It feels like you saw me go digging, right? We looked at
Mhm.
like this Joe. Catching him out in that lie was pretty glorious. I don't know why he would do such a thing, right? But when it comes to these creators, it's not that they don't really, they don't necessarily care about getting caught in a lie, because from their perspective, there's nothing you can do, right?
Well,
But
yeah. Yeah.
when Noma saw me coming at him, the reason why he got so very paranoid and so very scared is because, and you know, he indicated this to me in several different ways, he saw me as a superior in some sense. And so I, you know, tempted to pull Nomus aside and just play catch with him, and teach him how to be like a real father figure to him, and teach him how to be like a good kind of upstanding son and like
Mhm.
member of the community. um, Instead, I just thought it's better off just give him the tough love. So I put out the threads, I put out the clips. He had his little meltdowns, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think in some ways, I think I would do it. I would do it all over. If I do look at it now as maybe I wasted a little bit of time on him, but at the same time, like it was fun, and also it was probably the right thing to do considering the guy's absolute like I think it's important when we look at creators who are trying to gain some sort of platform. We look at their character, and if
Yeah.
they have what it takes in these situations, in these really difficult kind of, you know, be left to the wolves, kill or be killed kind of crisis PR situations, what they end up doing. And in Nomus's case, he basically wrote himself a blank check to accuse whoever he didn't like at that moment. And it happened, me calling him my son and telling him that he's grounded in like a Discord call,
Yeah. Yeah.
he felt like he had the right to lump an accusation on. And if that had left unchecked, if he had grown to, I don't know, you're at what, 50k now? If he had grown to your
Mhm.
size, let's say, Samuel, with that type of behavior, it's very terrifying to think about for let's say like another 16-year-old Dingo comes along, what kind of things he could have come up with. So I think
Yeah.
it's important that we manage creators and that we hold them accountable, not in a way that renders them unable to complete jobs or complete their tasks, but in a way that lets them know that they've done something that's bad and that we also want them to behave differently. And if there's
Mhm.
anything, and I don't think Nomus really did learn anything, he's not the type to, but if there's anything I hope he did learn, it's to not fuck with people first of
Mhm.
all, who've done nothing wrong,
Yeah.
obviously, and second of all, who are a lot smarter than him.
Well, yeah.
There's a saying, don't punch above your own fucking weight. And I guess he came at me like I'm Rocky, and I was, and he hit the ground, right? Obviously. So at the risk of sounding too egotistical, which I'm not. In fact, I'm the greatest YouTuber of all time. I think he made a fundamental miscalculation, and I think it's good that he's been put in check somewhat. And I hope that, because I'm staying out of it, because he's a nobody to me now. I hope that other people who stay in his orbit to some degree will continue to put those checks on him. And that if anything like this does happen in the future, I'm certainly not going to be speaking on it. It's totally out of my purview. But
Yeah.
I hope that someone will be able to go, okay, like, listen, this has happened before. Now we actually have to put on, big boy pants and deal with it properly. But yeah, I gave him arguably a slap on the wrist.
And yeah, and like in retrospective, right, there was a lot of people at the time as well dogging on him, right? Like I remember even saying to him that like the majority of the community absolutely hates him, right? He
Yeah.
didn't have any like major support. He just had that little group, right? And I was dipping in and out of it. It at the time because of course I've made my video, and there's so much has happened since. Um, but like the community that he built up around himself was so very toxic, right? All relied around him and drama and stuff, right? And I think that's pretty evident in my video, right? Where he's like convincing people they're like psychopaths and crap, like doing all of this like weird erotic behavior, and then even now with all the stuff he's admitted to, like sending like Shota to a 17-year-old, right? Being in
Mm.
his 20s. Like I don't think he's
I haven't
learned.
kept up with much of this, by the way.
So, are
But
you just a
no,
little
no. I
overview?
don't need to hear. I don't need to hear it, but I understand where you're coming from. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just don't feel like he's majorly learned. Like, and this is just my perspective on it. Because again, like he got called out for like flirting and trying to like, get his dick, yeah, with this poor like young person. And his whole thing was I wasn't thinking about the age when he sent the show over, or he forgot. And it just he doesn't seem to take accountability regardless of what it is, regardless of how many people walk away from him, regardless if he's now been left in a state where he doesn't really have friends online, right? He doesn't have any of that. He just still won't take accountability because his ego gets in the way.
Yeah, I agree, and I think think there's not much more to say about him other than that, really. It's just
Yeah,
that
honestly, yeah.
it's another sad kind of unfortunate case of what kind of a I think he had an ego that was maybe for such a small channel size was quite confusing. There's stuff to be telling me like I had a whole I'm not sure he says he has Tourette's, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't want to pretend that he said he's faking anything. I mean, I don't know if he has facial tics or maybe you've hung out with him longer. Does he? Is this something that you have confidence in? That's not made
Well,
up.
apparently, with his Tourette's, it was verbal swearing, and I even called him out on this in our debate I
Because
had
he
with him.
hasn't in
He
the many
doesn't.
conversations I've had with him, he's never done that.
He doesn't, and this whole thing is he mutes himself or does whatever, right? It's just like I have never once heard him like verbal tick just randomly, right? Like apparently he can control it, which is just bullshit. Like
Oh, he can
if you're gonna speak
control his
English,
verbal tics. Okay, then it's
yeah.
not Tourette's. What the fuck?
Like, and I remember his whole cope about like starting a bunch of drama on Discord, like in DMs, was that he's got Tourette's, and it's just like it doesn't work like that. Like you can't type a tick. Like, just so
Right.
I don't know with that. He says a lot of things, like lying about his age as well is a big thing. Like, he keeps saying, from the ages, he keeps telling people he was 18. Now he's publicly 20. He was telling his best friend that he was 23, and then he was telling everyone else he was 25 and stuff. So I really, like with him, I don't know what to believe. He also said he was black as well. If you've seen the photo of him, he's like the whitest guy on the planet. It's like, I just, yeah. Like I feel like there's a lot of lies wrapped up within Nomus. So there isn't anything he says that I think you can take as 100% fact.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's it on Nomus. Really, I think that's a wrap on
Yeah, yeah.
Nomus.
Well, 100%. And like just like because I feel like like we've spoke quite a bit about the drama side of things, right? And like if there's other drama bits, we can just get into that later. But I do want to talk a bit about you and your like channel and stuff.
Yeah,
Like for a little bit. More importantly, I do want to speak about like your style of content, but your most popular video, right? I feel like that
yes,
probably highlights like quite a bit of it, right?
it's
Your
a
most popular
capsule.
video. Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. And your most popular video nearly has over 200,000 views. It's on about 180K right now, about
Ooh.
Destiny versus Hassan. So for maybe people that haven't seen that or aren't familiar with any of that stuff, would you just like to go over that?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do on my channel, obviously, I use a tagline of documentaries on internet culture. I like to analyze specifically internet politics. It's a really interesting scene to me. And
Hmm.
seeing kind of two figures like Destiny, he's kind of the old guard, and seeing Hassan, he's kind of the new kid. And then to see that kind of drama, you know, and that kind of like tension.
Hmm.
People really want to know what's going on, and oftentimes they don't want to dig back through 3, 4, 5, 6 hour long streams to figure out what the fuck happened. So I'm kind of the guy who gets to get in and kind of I get my fix of analyzing things and researching, and you kind of get to understand, you know, and get caught up on like what the hell's going on, and you
Mm.
kind of get to have the context. Um, and I think, you know, I'm not sure when this video will come out, but my Destiny Iceberg video kind of I think puts for now a cap on that era of my channel on Destiny, and it kind of finishes off. It says like this is like the most interesting stuff about Destiny. I've in the past weighed up doing like a full 2 hour long Destiny video, like
Hmm.
full documentary from start to beginning, everything you need to know. That's a pretty big undertaking, so it's wriggled its way to the forefront of my mind, but like I think I'm really gonna need to weigh up the consequences mentally and physically of like dropping everything for like a couple months and like going deep into Destiny content. But for
Yeah, yeah,
now, I think the Destiny Iceberg is a nice kind of cap off on Destiny videos.
yeah,
And
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, and like I feel like it really ties together with what you were saying earlier about like being a showman and like really like liking that sort of like attention and drama and all that sort of stuff, right? Like it fuses everything, right? You get to present it in your own style where it's not topic commentary content at that point, right? You're not sitting there just like covering a story with some like, Battlefront gameplay in the background or whatever, right?
Mhm.
You're covering it, you're fully editing it, so people are paying attention to you. But also, it's across where you're also covering a drama and you're covering a situation, right? So you're getting all of those hits and stuff,
Yeah.
and it seems to be working, right? Like if you look at your most popular videos, like they all have like thousands of views, and even your least popular ones, like what your least popular one has like 400 odd, which for your channel size is still great, right? Like I don't think anyone of your channel size would be complaining if they got like a video with
Yeah,
like
and by the way,
500 views, right?
I should clarify, that's an old ass
Yeah,
video. That's
it's
2 years
the older
ago.
one.
And it's got like it's about Netflix, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
there's an interesting story about this is that if you watch that video, Netflix is broken. This video was released one day before I left Australia, where I had lived for the past 4 years, and
Hmm.
where I kind of left, moved my entire life back to my home, Ireland. And that it's interesting because this video was edited on a really fucking. You can watch it and you can see stuff like, how did he do that? And it's like I edited this in probably under a few days, desperately from dawn till dusk, trying to get, because I knew if my PC went away, right? If it went away and
Hmm.
went to shipping, right, I wouldn't have it back for months, months, months. And this
Yeah.
video, by then, I'd lose interest, right? I'd be on the idea fair, I'd be on to something else. So I tried desperately to get this out, and I did. I made it, and it did 400. And I still look back on it and listen to kind of my very young, what's the word? My very young, naive voice, and I think
Yeah.
like, you have no idea what's ahead of you, little guy. Like you've got no idea what's ahead of you. And what was ahead of me really was this wonderful commentary community, this wonderful place where we're all kind of okay with hating each other. We kind
Yeah.
of like we kind of like the vitriol and the toxicity, and there may become a day where I get tired of that. And I think for everyone there's a day where they grow up and where they move on. And I think at some point you'll see my content mature like that, because I'm only 16 years old, right? And my channel
Mhm.
is it's only a year and a bit old. Actually, it's technically 3 years, but I haven't been uploading for that long, right?
Well, look.
And you look back on that
Mhm.
period of your life and you think, I couldn't imagine making a video like that. And I think as you move on, as I leave behind eras and as I mature, I think I'm most excited to see my fan base and my audience mature with me. And
Yeah.
it's just been an absolute blast, especially going to VidCon, meeting people coming up to me. I've seen your videos. Like you've seen this is a person who I don't know who's seen my content. Like that was
Yeah.
crazy. That was surreal. And meeting people, I had the great pleasure of meeting a Cheeto.
Hmm.
He's really fucking tall. He's really tall. No, he's like 6'7". It's really, no, I'm not joking. 6'7".
Holy fuck, man.
He's freakishly tall, right? I had the great pleasure of meeting him, and Aiden, of course, is one of my closest content creation friends. It's that kind of community that I like, in that we all we understand what we're here for. No one's bullshitting each other. It's the drama of it all. It's the yelling and the screaming and the, what did he say? What did she say? It's the kind of, I'm a high schooler, so I'm
Yeah.
naturally drawn to these things. But I think we all grow up. But I just think I'm kind of that type of guy. I like to enjoy the here and now. And I think here and
Mhm.
now I'm pretty comfortable being kind of a commentary douchebag.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, I think small commentary. When we talk about that, I think small commentary is a mindset,
Yeah.
and small commentary is also the group that you hang around. If the group that you hang around is boring, degenerate, and annoying, you'll be labeled as small commentary. I've done pretty well for myself in that most people don't really ascribe that label to me. I guess at least not in a non-literal sense, right? If
Yeah.
I literally do commentary videos, and I literally am a small youth.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. Right. Like
but
you'd be
but
put into that
figuratively, no.
bracket. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can put into that bracket of like I feel like there are two versions of the small commentator community, right? There are smaller commentators, regardless if you're in that so-called community, right? Like there are people online that do commentary videos who are small, but they're not in the small commentary community. They're just part of like a group of smaller commentators, right? And I feel like that covers quite a few people, right? And then there's the small commentary community itself, where you've got all of these content creators which sort of interact with each other, right? And depending on how you interact with those content creators, really depends on what your labels are. Like I feel like you said as well, you've been personally lucky that you're not labeled like as one of these degenerates. I think I've also been personally lucky. Like I
Yes.
know that some
British
people
fuck.
dislike me. Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. I know some people personally dislike me, like Agamines and stuff, right? Um, and then that's more of like a mutual hating, right? But like I think I'm pretty lucky with doing trash talk, speaking to like almost these bigger guests as well, right? That I
Hmm.
haven't been like compared to like the doxers of the community, the real like bad degenerates.
Yeah. And I think you've done well for yourself not being a creep, Samuel. So take your gold
Oh,
star.
definitely.
No problem, man. Listen, for a guy who spent so much time hanging around Nomus, you're surprisingly normal.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, man. Yeah, it is an unfortunate time in my like life, man. Like, found the poor fucker on Reddit, and I regret it, man. I can't lie.
you found him on Reddit, Samuel. This is
Yeah,
not looking good for your audience. This
well,
is not
well,
looking good.
it was on like the r/ commentary, and I was just scrolling with like a couple of my friends, and we were like trying to point and laugh at whoever was like promoting their videos on there. And he was just there. It was actually his Kumo video he'd put on the r/ commentary page. And yeah, so it was an unfortunate time uh to meet him, but like I feel like your outlook on the commentary community is a way more positive outlook, I'd say, than a lot of people do have. Like everyone I speak to at the moment has a really like negative outlook on it, and even myself, I feel like especially someone who like genuinely really enjoys like that smaller side of commentary, right? As like a community where like people are making content, people interacting, right? Like especially like last year and like 2021, where people it wasn't about like these like individuals, right? It was about everyone making content. You had like figureheads like Toxic Distress, like and all these people, lyrics or whatever, regardless if you dislike them or not, right? Uh,
Yeah.
where now I find it's very different. Like you couldn't say it's the same community because so many people have left and abandoned that sort of thing. So people do have a negative outlook, but yours is definitely like a more positive outlook on all of that. Like I feel like everyone has a really negative outlook on that at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I have that positive outlook is that I think I've always seen, I think it should be seen this way. I think my audio's a little too loud. Am I better now?
Yeah, you're a good one.
Okay. I think one of the thing I think what I think is I think that commentary is like the dysfunctional town square of the internet. You
Yeah.
know, there are places that are more cohesive than this. There is Super Smash Bros. Sorry, that's more like the human trafficking square of like the
Yeah.
internet. But there are gaming communities, and as dysfunctional surprisingly as I found the VTuber community to be, those guys absolutely ravage each other for no reason as well.
Yeah.
We have a reason, right? We hate each other. Not only just to hate each other, but usually something's happened. But these VTuber guys, fuck. They'll hate you because they don't like your voice. And you know what? They'll fucking say it. You know? Like, some communities are a lot different than ours, but what we are is honest. Right? And that we don't
Yeah.
pretend to be anything that we're not. We are toxic. If that word is so absolutely fucking like mind-boggling to have ascribed to, we are a little bit rough around the edges, but it's the honesty. That's what the internet needs.
Mm.
It doesn't need people who forego authenticity, like a lot of these gaming YouTubers, these Let's Play YouTubers who forego authenticity for money, who forego originality for YouTube Shorts. We don't forgo this stuff. We do what oftentimes is the least palatable thing for the audience, but we do also what we think is right and correct and good, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, it makes for really, really big shit shows. A lot of the times, it makes for really, really good content. And that's why I often compare Twitch politics to commentary. I think Dramatic Decay Twitch politics is a great video to watch if you want to get caught up on that schism. But I think we're so alike in many different ways in that we call a spade, and what we also do is we have fun while doing it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we don't take ourselves too seriously. You have to ask Twitch Politics about that last one, but it's about that sort of it's about that the lifeblood of the internet. It's the building and the living and the screaming and the shouting. It's what keeps, I think the juices flowing, because if drama disappeared tomorrow, if there was no drama tomorrow, everything would screech to a halt. If there was nothing
yeah,
to talk about tomorrow, everything would screech to a halt. But it doesn't matter how boring the day is for you in your life. If you're on the train ride home and blowing your brains, right, you can hop on Twitter, right, and get into like an absolute fucking Twitter war with Ogyar, and maybe at the end of it, you might leave a little heated, But I think in the cases of me, I think a lot of other people, you leave feeling, I don't know, maybe slightly more fulfilled, and that you're contributing to entertainment, to making people feel,
yeah,
like there's something more to the internet other than, YouTube shorts and mindless, satisfying slime videos. There's more. It's rough. It's certainly not the best type of content, but there is more, and that's what commentary is to me. It gives more to the audiences.
yeah,
It's something to chew on. It's got substance. It's got quality to it. You can come at it from any different angle. You can be the neutral documentarian. You can be the John Zerka, the OGRC, the bombastic kind of I don't give a fuck people. You can
yeah.
be the Turkey Tom. You can be both. All the avenues are open to you, and that's why it's so great. Because there's so much different stuff you can do. The commentary community never boxes you in or tells you what you have to be or have to do or have
Well,
to
yeah,
think.
yeah,
And that's what's so excellent about it. Because, gaming, Minecraft, they have a set of beliefs for you, and if you don't follow them, you're fucked. With commentary, the best thing that can happen to you is having someone come up and try to fuck you. Figuratively, not literally.
yeah.
Hold
Well,
on,
yeah.
I might need to catch my language now. um, but yeah.
That is the good thing about commentary, right? And like, I feel like even if you just take a look at your channel, right? You post documentary stuff, you dabble in the drama and stuff, and like that's your choice, right? No one's forced you to make those style of videos. No one's forced you to get involved in that drama. That's you, right? Pretty similar to me, right? Like no one's forced me to do this podcast. No one forces me to cover like all of the like news and stuff in commentary, right? And tweet about it or whatever. No one forced me to do any of that, right? That's all down to me and down to my choices. So I feel like with commentary, it's a very big community and a very wide in content creation elements, right? You've got your drama
Yeah.
commentators, your topic commentators, your documentary ones, your podcasters, your Twitter news ones, whatever. And like you could do all of them if you wanted, right? There is no one telling you that you can't. Like, and I think that's the great thing about this in comparison to other genres, right? Like if you, like you said, like if you get big off a game like Minecraft, right? There's no like, wiggle room, right? Like, if you get big off that game, that's going to be the game you are doing for the majority of your YouTube career, right? Realistically, like unless like
Yeah.
you're a very popular gaming content creator, right? Like you built a name for yourself, like Jacksepticeye, etc., right? Like that is going to be what you do for the majority of your YouTube career. But with commentary, it's not like that, right? There's a new drama every day, a new situation. Especially if you're doing topic commentary, you're not just stuck in one thing. You're covering something new every week, right?
Yeah, it's also scalable. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if you know who Sino is. He
Uh,
he's known
no,
as he's known as
unfortunately not.
JoJo's ASMR now.
Hmm.
Like you can move beyond commentary. It's so amorphous that you can shift out of it pretty easily. I've weighed up content shifts and content changes. I mean, you'll see my second channel probably in the next few months, getting a little bit more active. There's been thoughts about spicing it up. And commentary gives you the avenue to make that happen. Whereas in
Yeah.
another community, that might not happen. It might be that you're boxed into that. So did I say with commentary, I meant with other kind of genres of content. You may be boxed into doing that for the rest of your career. I think especially it would be difficult for a VTuber to rebrand into a commentary YouTuber, but it wouldn't be necessarily difficult for a commentary. I don't think. In fact, I've seen there are a lot of VTubers I think who've had very interesting pasts. I mean, I think my sketch check video, there's a certain individual who's suspected to be the YouTuber sketch check, suspected, I think, with quite convincing evidence. You know, you can do that. You can do that. You can really do that, and you can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like I feel like in this genre of stuff, right, you can understand. You could leave, right. You could wake up in the morning and go, I'm not enjoying commentary anymore. I want to do gaming. I want to make gaming content. I don't like that. I want to do, I don't know, fucking, if you're that boring, you want to do English literature content. I don't fucking know anything, right. Like you could wake up and do absolutely anything. And on the same note, right, the only thing with commentary, right, is it's a very big thing. If you quit, it becomes a whole thing, right? And that's like I feel like it's very big when you quit in comparison to other genres, right? Like usually, if you quit and you're a gaming content creator, people may be upset or whatever, but like there's no like story around it. As soon as someone quits in the commentary community, it becomes a story, right? It becomes like the next like weekly topic. Like you cover it, you talk about it, like tweets are made and stuff. And that's the part that probably for a lot of people isn't as freeing as the other stuff. But even then, when you leave, you're giving like people content before you leave, right?
They move on quickly, though. I think
Yeah, yeah.
is the freeing part.
I feel like so many people have quit as of recent in the past couple of months, like since December, I'd say.
I'm
That, like,
reminded, I think, I think everyone knows who Pie Girl is, right?
yeah,
When
yeah,
Pie Girl left, there was a good few months period, even though the stuff that they had done was pretty, it was pretty high bar, right?
yeah.
There's a period of people just weren't talking about it. They just forgot about it. And that
Mhm.
person probably could have left forever, and that probably could have been. They didn't. I don't know why. But because if I was Pie Girl, I think I even said this paragraph. I said, if I was you, man, I would have left and never came back.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
alas, they have returned. And I think one of the things that I learned was that it doesn't matter what's going on in the commentary community. I think I've had a lot of spats. I think with other creators. I don't know if you heard there was a thumbnail drama. I think that was
A
getting
thumbnail
about.
drama. I've not heard of this thumbnail drama. I can't lie, man.
I think I told someone the thumbnail was really bad. Well, that wasn't my term. I said who the fuck would pay any money for a thumbnail?
Oh
like
my
that?
god! Oh my! Is it still like the Kazuri stuff, right?
Yes, I think yes.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a bit of that on like on Twitter. Yeah, I did see a couple of the replies.
Now think about was I being a dick? Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. Was it funny? Yeah, it was really fucking funny. It was really funny, and a lot of people I talked to behind the scenes who were a little bit more knowledgeable just kind of said, "Yeah, I mean, it was a funny fucking joke," and people on the internet, I think I would have liked to have had Kasari be chill about that. And I think for a bit he was, and then he wasn't. I don't know why. I would have liked him to have been chill about it, but I think the one thing I'm saying is sometimes you come to a misapprehension with people, and that your style of humor may be a little bit different. And while it may have been get that person into a corner and have a serious conversation, right? And you can kind of get to know each other a little bit. I think that the trouble is that you lose some of what makes the commentary community so great, which is that the conversations that need to happen because we're all here for the same reason, right? And yeah, I mean, I think I reached out to the guy. I said something like, "Let's make peace." He didn't respond, so I'm not too worried about this type of stuff. I think it's all, at the end of the day, it's all typical commentary stuff. It's kind of on the books for what you'd expect. But I think, either way, I think it was just it was a very interesting occurrence.
Yeah, and I guess with commentary, right? I feel like we're starting to come to an actual conclusion, right? And this is just the final thing I want to say on this, little bit before I've got one last question. And I really do feel like in commentary, right? If your personalities or your humor doesn't match, you just simply move on, right? And I feel like again, the issue is right. Is that should be simple, right? That if you don't like each other, fine, whatever. Make a couple of funny tweets, move on, right? But a lot of people in commentary hold these I'm gonna say very arrogant grudges, there are like people that for no reason will genuinely hate you, right? Like you might have not even had an interaction with them or whatever, and this is just my view on it, right? And like if you've done like genuinely nothing to this person, I feel like unless you've like a big like you've done something massively wrong publicly, right? Like I feel like within commentary, it's just make content, right? Like if you don't like them, tweet at them, whatever, make a funny, silly drama. But it isn't that serious at the end of the day. As soon as you log off, it all stops realistically, right? Like unless it is genuinely a big situation, like if you look at like a Natty Force type situation, for example, that got serious and stuff like that, right? The more serious ones, of course, like there is a different level to it, right? But just this other commentary drama, as soon as you come off, that's it. But I feel like people do take it like really, really seriously instead of just looking at it as like fun and just funny.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you understand how deeply unserious this whole kind of thing is,
Yeah.
I think you get much more like. There's something I often say to people who I'm in drama. I said, "Listen, man, I love you, but you're not a serious person." And
Yeah.
I think when people talk to me during drama, they want me to treat them like a serious person. I say, I don't even treat myself like a serious person right now. Why would I treat you like a serious? It's like this isn't serious to me. What would be serious is if people start calling up your job and going, "Hey, this guy's on Twitter saying all sorts of stuff. You really like, fire and fuck
Yeah.
this guy."
Yeah. Stuff
That
like
would be
that.
pretty. That would be a problem. That would be problematic.
Yeah, like it's very much of the same vein of like the deplatforming, calling up, and then like I feel like it does cross between like a really serious situation and a joke situation, when like actual like potential crimes come into it, right? Which again, like unfortunately, like because we're in the commentary community, a lot of stuff like that does happen, right? And that's where you change etiquette, right? Instead of like start joking, you get in a call, you talk to this person, you make a tweet, you cover it, whatever, right? But your etiquette changes in that sense, right? It is stop becoming like this big joke, and then it does become a little bit more serious. Uh, and I guess that is the beauty of commentary. Not all the allegations. Usually that ends up like being really bad. But like the beauty of commentary is that there are, if you do want to look at those really serious situations, they're there. But again, if you just want more relaxed drama and funny stuff, that's also there, and they're always coexisting constantly.
That makes sense.
Like,
I would be inclined to agree on that. I think.
yeah, like I think commentary is just it is a genre unlike any other genre in that sense, right? Like a lot of other genres wouldn't have like that like funny stuff and then the really serious stuff like really paralleled. But that's commentary for you.
Yeah, exactly, pretty much.
And just
Um,
unless you've got anything else that you want to talk about, I'm really really happy where with this podcast is left. Like I said, I do have one last question for you, which
oh, that's,
isn't
that's
like targeted towards maybe you or your content, but it's a question that I've been asking quite a few people that have come on recently, just getting their ideas and stuff. After your episode releases, is there anybody else you'd like to see come on Trash Talk?
Oh, yes, there is actually.
Hmm.
Um, nomisyalf. Sorry, I should probably be serious. I should probably be serious. Who would I like to see? Um, couple people.
Hmm.
Aeronaut Docs. He's a new creator, one of my buddies. He's been going great. Aiden. Aiden would never do it. Aiden's a busy guy, but if you can get
Well,
him,
actually, just on the topic of like Aiden, right? I feel like I might as well mention this because like you've brought it up. I originally spoke to Aiden about coming on Trash Talk. Like when it first started, like in September of last year, and we actually had scheduled an episode, to do. Um, but when it came to do the episode, we got a time and everything. He just didn't. We didn't end up doing it. Instead he was on Spotify, which for everyone will be like one of the best things that had ever happened. Was scheduling
almost.
episode and then coming on, and then he's just like chilling on Spotify. I love the guy.
Yeah, I love it. Aiden is a silly guy, but Aiden is he's a good friend. I like Aiden.
Yeah,
He's a good
yeah,
friend.
yeah, yeah, 100%, man. But yeah, like I'll 100% try and reach out to a couple of those. And like I said, I really do appreciate you just coming on Trash Talk for 40 minutes and just talking about your drama, your channel, your content and stuff, and your thought process and all of that.
No problem. No
And
problem, man.
yeah, and thank you, man. And to everyone watching today's episode, if you did enjoy today's video and you want to go and check out Dingo, I highly recommend that. But I've been your host, Samuel.
Subscribe to
Yeah,
Trash Talk. I've been your co-host, Dingo. Subscribe to Trash Talk. This is my
exactly.
fucking outro, okay? Subscribe to Trash Talk, the podcast. Excellent podcast. And if
Oh,
you
thank you.
don't, you will be removed. Wherever you
Yeah,
are, you'll be removed.
exactly.
Okay? So subscribe, or I will fucking destroy you.